Hey everybody, I'm trying out a new way to do these videos. I've got a nice new table, which I'm really excited about. I'm also using my phone. I've got the new iPhone 14 Pro Plus, I think it is, it's the big one. And I'm just testing it out to see if it'll work well for this video. So I thought I would share with you some of the gear that we are not going to use for 2023. We used it in 2022 and it didn't work out for us at all. So rather than you making the poor gear choices that I did and paying money for this stuff, I thought I'd just share my thoughts. First thing I'll talk about is this fire maple stove. It's the FMS 300T. This is really nice and tiny and it's made of titanium, just like the BRS 3000 that we have. And I wanted to try it because it is so tiny, and I thought maybe it might be a little more efficient than the BRS, because I heard it was a little more efficient, because the BRS flame kind of goes out a little bit from the center, where this one, the flame kind of stays in the center underneath your pot better. It is a little more efficient maybe, but this is actually the second one I've had, and I'll have to post a picture down below of what this looks like sitting on top of the canister. But when it's on the canister, it's actually crooked and the pot sits crooked. To me, just because you're not always on a perfectly flat surface when you're backpacking, you kind of need to have your stove at least be upright properly. The crookedness really bothered me. The other thing that bothered me was, for some reason, this little valve on the side, even though I would do up the valve, it would start leaking. I don't know if the spring was springing back or not, but I actually woke up on our last day of backpacking, and it was a good thing we actually cut one of our trips short by a day, because I woke up and opened up the bear box and it just smelled horribly like propane, and my entire propane little bottle was completely empty. Definitely won't be using this again. That could be quite dangerous if you don't have any fuel. I mean, I guess you could soak your food for a longer period of time if you just have freeze-dried food, but if you don't just have freeze-dried food and you have to cook your food, it could be quite dangerous to be in the backcountry with a stove that leaks. Next item is the Katadyn BeFree. As you can see, I've got two of them here. This one here is actually my second Katadyn BeFree. The first one completely clogged up and I could do nothing to save it. So I gave it another chance and I bought a second one, and I used this for about 6 days, and by day 3 it was completely clogged up again. I actually did everything suggested to get this thing unclogged. I put it on this container, I swished it around really hard, I spun it this way, I soaked it in vinegar for 24 hours, vinegar and water, and it maybe helped the flow maybe 40% better than it was, but it just wasn't the same. Now these guys have amazing customer service, and Katadyn actually sent me this one for free. So I'm going to give it a third try, just in case the one that I bought on Amazon, maybe it was old stock, maybe they had issues with them before. I'm going to try it again, but I'm also going to bring the filter that has never failed me. And we've got actually one of these for each of our family members. This is the Salomon filter. And I think that it's even made in the same factory. I mean, they're super similar. But for some reason, this one has never clogged. I have had this filter for over a year and it has never clogged, and it still flows just as well as it did on the first day. I'll give this one another try, but honestly, if you have to buy a new filter, I would just go with the Salomon. Next item is I bought this Boundless Voyage grill, and this is supposed to be titanium. And I mean, it looks like it's titanium, but it feels really heavy. Maybe it's because it's pretty thick, but it's quite heavy. And I bought this so that when I go with my friends who like to go fishing in some of the lakes that we go to, my friends don't ever bring anything other than just their pot. So I thought that maybe, you know, cooking on a grill, some fish would be really nice. But I just thought it was really heavy. So I went back on Amazon and I found this other Boundless Voyage grill, and it's bigger and it's lighter. So you can see that. So I'm actually going to take this one out because I think I could put a couple of little fish on this instead of just maybe one on this. And it's lighter, so hey, bigger and lighter, that's what I'm gonna take. The next item that I'm not going to use again is these down-filled booties that I got for my son on Amazon. I wash these booties, and normally with down, if you throw them in the dryer on low, the balling that happens inside down just comes apart and it's no problem at all. But for some reason in these booties, the down is completely hard and it's all stuck together. There's absolutely no insulation left in these booties. There's just clumps of down. So these I definitely won't be taking again, which is too bad because he really liked these. The next thing that I won't be taking again is this tarp. It's a Bluefield tarp, and I mean, it works okay. It's kind of plasticky, but the biggest thing for me is it's really heavy. And it doesn't have any bad performance issues per se. It's just too heavy for me to take. And we like to always take a tarp when we go with our kids because kids and rain don't mix very well. If you have a tarp and you're hiking and it starts just pouring down, you can whip your tarp out, throw it up, and you guys can wait out the storm. Or even at camp, it just makes life a lot more pleasant at camp to have a tarp. The tarp that I'm going with this year, which we actually did start using last year halfway through the year, is the Hyperlight. This is a fully Dyneema tarp, and it's just way lighter and more convenient. I got a bunch of cool Dutchware lines for it and some Dutchware stingers, and can't remember what the other Dutchware little guys are called here, but anyway, I've got it set up so that it's much lighter. It might be a little bit less compact, but to me, it's more of a weight savings thing. I like to go as light as I can with the kids because when you're going for 6 days and you're carrying all that food, it gets pretty heavy. I think my pack on our 6-day trip last year was a good, I think it was 40 pounds or 39.5 pounds on day one. That was without the tent because my husband had the tent. The next piece of gear that I didn't really enjoy is the Nemo chipper. I have to admit that I haven't actually taken this out in the backcountry for one big reason. That is, it's really heavy. Compared to the other foam mats I have, like just the cheap foam mats that I bought from Amazon, or the 1/8 inch pad that I just cut the end off from Gossamer Gear, this thing is so heavy. The other thing that I didn't really like about it is it's kind of spiky. It's made of recycled material that Nemo has lying around, which is awesome. Good for the environment if people are actually going to use this. But when I sit on it, the material is really spiky on the ends. There's just little tiny pieces in here that are not soft. And when I want to sit on something, I want to sit on it and feel it kind of squish and not stick me with little, I don't know what they are. Maybe just some harder material that they had lying around. But I'm not a super fan of this. It's nice because it's bigger than the pads that I bought for my kids on Amazon, but it's just a little spiky. So maybe I'll take it in when I'm car camping and use it, you know, on the picnic tables or whatever, or give it to somebody I don't really like that much to sit on. The next thing that wasn't awesome for us was the Salomon soft flasks. I can use these soft flasks with absolutely no issue. And this is what I use. My husband and my kids destroy these things. I can't even remember how much these cost, but they're like $35 or something. They are not cheap. And we've gone through, I think we have 4 of them with holes in them. Just little tiny pinholes that you can't even see. They'll be walking down the pathway and all of a sudden their shirt is wet because there's some little tiny pinhole somewhere that you can't even see. You have to dry it off and squeeze it and see where the water's coming out. For me, these are great because when I run and when I go out, I want to be as light as I can be, but not for my hubby and kids. We've switched to these Salomon bladders, which are the Outlife bottle, and they're just a little bit thicker. And we've never popped a hole in these yet. Knock on wood, but so far so good. And as you can see, we have a filter on every one of our Outlife bottles, and each person in our family takes this filter. And on that note, the first thing I got before I found these Outlife bottles was this Nalgene-like Lifestraw bottle for my son. He had already gone through a couple of these, so I thought, oh, this would be a great idea. It's got a filter in it. Should be the perfect thing. Well, these filters are pretty expensive to replace. My son put chocolate milk in this and then put the filter in and then tried to drink it. That wrecked the first one, and he only had it for maybe 2 hikes, and I had to get him a new one, not knowing that it was gonna kind of be crappy. We bought him another one, and it only took a couple of hikes and it was clogged even without chocolate milk. And I've never been able to unclog this thing. I don't know why. I don't know, like, I haven't really researched any way to unclog it other than put fresh water in here and swish it around. But honestly, I cannot get this thing to filter any water at all anymore through the tip. So total bust. It's too bad because it was a good idea, good concept. Maybe Lifestraw will come up with a new filter that's better. Another piece of gear I'll be leaving at home for 2023 is the 6 Moon Designs umbrella sleeve. This ultralight umbrella from 6 Moons Designs is awesome. I absolutely love it. It's better than putting on a rain jacket that's going to make you really hot, as long as it's not super windy. Of course, if it's windy, you can't really use an umbrella. But this sleeve, I cannot get my umbrella back in this sleeve. This is my hubby's umbrella. We have one each. He's okay with trying to take 20 minutes to get your umbrella into the sleeve, but not me. And I mean, it's extra weight anyway, so who needs it? The umbrella is supposed to be wet anyway, so I just throw it on the side of my pack without a sleeve. Another piece of gear that was almost a disaster for 2022 is the Arc'teryx Aerios 45 pack. I love this pack. It's got many great features, and I'll do a separate review on this pack. I had to send this pack back to Arc'teryx and get a refund because inside this pack in the back there's a plastic panel, and the plastic panel has 2 plastic stiffeners on either side of it that are laminated to the panel somehow, and those plastic stiffeners detached from the panel. I just about didn't buy another one of these packs because I'm really scared it's going to happen again. However, the pack was comfortable enough and functional enough that I really enjoyed it. So I thought I'd buy it and give it another try because my husband also has this pack and he's never had that problem. And I wonder if it's because my dog was sitting on top this pack once and maybe bent the plastic inside. Still, Arc'teryx is supposed to be a company that makes everything quite durable, and they have a really good reputation, so I was really surprised that that happened to the pack. The next thing is footwear. This is so individual. Some people love to wear boots. I have some Arc'teryx boots that are not too bad backpacking with, however they're still stiff as well, but I just thought I'd try these one time just for fun. I only was going in 5K. These are the Scarpa Mescalitos. These come in the low boot as well. I believe they've discontinued them, but they're super stiff. They're an approach boot, or an approach shoe if you get the shoe version. But too stiff for me. Too stiff, probably a little bit too wide. I have a really skinny foot. After 5K, my feet were crying. So I'm no longer going to be wearing a stiff boot when I'm backpacking. So the next boot that I got, that I thought I hit the jackpot on after trying quite a few, is this Futurelight Fast Pack Vectair by the North Face. I wore these for 2 trips and I was in heaven. They were great, absolutely phenomenal shoes. 3rd trip, felt like the rocks were coming through the bottom of my shoe. The foam is really thick and cushy, but I think that the foam broke down after only 2 two-day trips. And I'm not sure if you can see this, but there's a lot of little striations as if the foam has squished down too far on the boots. And in one spot, there's actually even a small tear on the foam. And I think that the foam is just not durable enough for carrying any weight at all on your back. And I didn't even go on long trips with this where I was carrying really heavy weight. I was going on my own individual trip where it was only a couple of days and I didn't have to carry my kids' food. So I didn't have a lot of weight on my back. I contacted the North Face about these and they weren't really going to do anything for them. So maybe my daughter, who's lighter, can wear them, but they're definitely not going to go on my feet again when I'm backpacking or even hiking. We're going to do another video about the new gear that we're going to try for 2023. And I did pick up a new pair of high top style trail runners. So I will let you know what those are in the next video. I think that's it for the gear that we weren't into for 2022. Make sure that you subscribe so that you get to see the video about the new gear that we're going to try out for 2023 and the gear that we really liked. I'm also going to be talking about the dog backpacking gear that we used for the year and what we liked and didn't like about that. So make sure that you subscribe and follow us along so that you can see the rest of the videos. Thanks. See you next time.